Hey Kev, where are we going?
Well, we're off to the lumber yard today. I don't know if you guys have been following our videos, but if you have, last year Allie kind of surprised chicks on us. So I got a random phone call with her coming home from the city, and it was like, hey, I've got some chicks with me and we need a brooder. So
And we have 3 hours to put it together.
yeah, and 3 hours to put it together. So luckily we had a old dog crate that I was able to quickly put some, I guess, what do we use, plastic mesh?
Yeah, mesh plastic.
Mesh plastic, so I quickly slammed that together and we made it work a couple of times last year.
Truly, it did work. Like, it was a good brooder. It always suited our needs. But this year,
This guy wanted to be prepared.
No, like the real truth is somebody was doing chicken math and it was Kevin.
Yeah, I got chicken math. So last year, we just kind of jumped right into it. We got pretty much backyard mixes. So this winter, we were able to kind of sit down, discuss the type of breeds that we wanted. Found an awesome heritage breeder out in the southern part of our province. So we were able to pick out 4 new breeds that we're going to bring into our flock. So today's the day that we're going to build a brooder for them.
But, as always with us, time is of the essence.
Yeah, so those are coming in less than a month's time. We got a vacation planned. Sweet deal for us, but we need to get this done pretty much. This day's off, so today that is what is on the go. All right, so we just pulled up to the lumber store here and just wanted to talk about a few things before we go in. So with our main thing of always being prepared, I kind of drawn up a nice little diagram of what our brooder is going to look like. And if you can see on that drawing on the top part where my list of things that I need, there's a few different colors of pen and pencil there. So, we did the original design and then we realized after the fact that there was some things we needed to add. So we got it all jotted down, we got our list, but there's a reason why we're doing this. We live, Allie, about a half an hour round trip out of town.
It's far enough that it's like super inconvenient and totally messes with your productivity to have to drop everything and run
back in case you've missed something. So, that's why we always like to do a quick sketch. We brainstorm about our ideas of how we want to do it, and then we get our final kind of draft in place and kind of walk through it to make sure we haven't missed anything.
Ask each other questions. Hey, did you account for the lid? Did you think about handles? Did you think about all the brackets that we need? That's how you figure out if you've missed something on your plan, because it's really easy to gloss over something when you're making your supply list. And what happened to us this morning? We were sitting here and I said, hey man, did you factor in the lumber for the lid? And he's like,
I forgot.
No.
So that's why, like I said, we always bounce things across each other, making sure we got everything kind of solidified for our plan and all our supplies, because we don't want to be making multiple trips to town. Like Allie said, productivity goes down, and also, I don't know where you're at, but where we're at, fuel isn't so cheap, so we want to do this kind of in one stop and not have to come back. So we're gonna go inside, we're gonna get the stuff that we need, and then we're gonna head back home and get started. All right, as you can see, I was just drilling the last few holes to secure the bottom of the 4x8 onto the frame. The only one thing I would suggest when I was putting the frame together, it was pretty flimsy, just being 1x4s. So with that being said, get somebody to give you a hand if you plan on moving it around while you're putting it together. The only thing left to do is I just got to put my screws down this side and the bottom will be complete. And then we'll be able to move on to working on the top part of the brooder where the lids will be and whatnot. So we're about a third of the way through. We'll see how this keeps going. it's been a few days since I was able to work on this project. Friday, I went with my daughter to the ski hill with her school for a day of skiing, which we had a great time. And then yesterday, it was our son's birthday party, so we had a bunch of friends over. So we were pretty busy, so I wasn't able to work on this. So we're back at it, and I'm just gonna walk you through where we are at. So as I was talking earlier in our videos, this is built in 3 different sections. So the bottom is one piece made out of the 1x4s and a sheet of plywood. The top portion is built out of 1x4s with a little bit of 2x4s put in there for added stability. And then we've got one of the liftable lids in place for accessing the inside of the brooder. Overall, we're very happy with how the build has gone. We did have to change one thing midway, was this middle section. We were going to have this where we weren't able to access it, and that's why the plastic mesh is stapled on. But after we got going, we're like, well, how are we going to clean this effectively? So we decided that we are going to make this removable as well. So one thing that I still have to do is pull this plastic mesh off and make one more frame to attach it to before securing it. Overall, this went together super easy to keep in line with how we want this to be able to come apart at the end of the year. So there's the bottom base, the top base that I built, and then these side brackets that we did. And overall, it was a pretty easy design. So we just took the 2 boards, mated them together, and then this is where we drilled a couple holes to put our screws in. And then we use these nice 90-degree brackets just to cover those screws underneath and give it a little bit more rigidity, which you can see, you know, this is nice and sturdy and it's going to serve the purpose that we need. So all that we got left to do is I got the other hinged roof piece for the access that we're going to put on the other side, and then we will finish this other frame, get that put on, and then we just have to wrap the outside. So overall, it's coming together really well, and we're glad we kind of went with this design. We think it's going to work perfectly for our birds that show up here in about a month's time. Yesterday, I was able to finish up the centerpiece that's fixed, as well as the other lid on the other side. So the only thing that's left to do is just wrap this thing in the plastic mesh, and then we can call it done. What we're gonna do this time for a quick and easy win is we're just going to wrap the outside with the wire mesh and staple it. But the plan is when we break this down, when we're finished with it, we actually want to attach the mesh to the inside supports, and it'll be all as one. So when we go to do it next year, we just pull it out, secure the corners, and finished. But we don't have time for that this time. So we're just gonna hit the easy button, get this project finished up so it's ready here for next month when we bring our chicks home. Allie's gonna give me a hand, and we're gonna bang this out fairly quickly. It'll go a lot easier with 2 people, 1 person holding the mesh tight, and I'll just come behind and staple it. Probably got about 10 minutes to finish this up, and then we will be done.
Thankfully, Kevin and I got this brooder built and pretty much ready to go before he went back to work, but I have a few last minute things that I needed to do to get it ready to go. So Kevin right now is at work, but as soon as he gets on days off, we are jumping in the car and we are taking a family vacation. And the day that we land back in Edmonton, we are actually driving from the airport to the breeder to pick up chicks, and then we're coming home. So I need to have this brooder ready to go because we need to put our chicks straight into their home as soon as they get here without fooling around. So I've done a few things already. I dug out my brooding sized feeders and waterers. I cleaned them up, I sterilized them, and then I got my brooder plate cleaned and sterilized. So the other thing that I did was I got my daughter in the brooder, and the two of us climbed inside and we partitioned it off. So I wanted the chicks, while they're quite small, to only have access to half. I think that will prevent them from getting too far away from the heater and any kind of injury that can cause. That being said, this brooder is in a heated garage. We have slab heating in here, and it is very warm in here. As you can see, it gets southern sun exposure all day, and the lowest it gets at night is 70 degrees. So, I mean, if they get a little too far from the heat, honestly, I think that they would be okay. But, you know, it's just one more thing that I can do to help keep them safe. So today I have to fill the brooder with chips, and I'd like to open the bag of feed and get the feeder filled and ready to go. I'm not going to put water because I don't want water sitting in the water in the sunlight for the next 14 days. I think that would get kind of disgusting. I'll get the cord for the heat plate punched through the edge, and we will be ready to go. We are super excited to add our chicks, and I will share another video once we pick them up, and we'll share which breeds they are and which chicks are which. But we hope to be housing about 30 chicks in here. We are not going to be keeping any roosters aside from one Americana rooster, we're hoping. The remainder of the roosters will either be sold because they'll be purebred, or they will be sent to freezer camp, unfortunately. So that is our plan when it comes to the brooder. That's a wrap on the brooder project. It is pretty much done. All that's left to do is to plug in the brooder heat plate and to fill up the waterers and to add the new chicks. We are very happy with how this project turned out, and I know that it'll work better for us and for our needs this year and in future years than the dog crate we were using last year, simply because it'll allow us to brood more chicks at one time than we could in the dog crate due to space constraints. So I'm really happy about that because brooding chicks can be a big job, and cleaning up after them is also a big job. So if I can do it all in one time, all at once, that'll make my life a lot easier. So we're really excited to get using this, and we are really excited to add new chicks to our flock and our homestead this year.